What's
Hello.
going on, social media? So I'm super excited about this episode. So it's one of my favorite topics. So we are on episode 85, and today we're running on a skeleton crew. So we just have the most important people on this team. No, I'm just joking. So well, we just have the marketing side, right? So we don't really have the sales guy. So
Yeah,
Eldrick
that's
is gonna probably
important.
hop in a little later, but he has some, other work things that he has to prioritize today. So yeah. So today we're gonna talk about marketing and
And
sales. Yep.
mm,
And
mm.
oftentimes, Jeremy probably knows from the corporate experience, marketing loves to blame sales, and sales love to blame marketing when it comes to
Wait,
the
hold on, hold on,
corporate
hold on.
world.
Hold on, Kevin. You're starting with that because I thought, I mean, we didn't discuss this, but that was where I was going to start actually. So it's pure coincidence.
So I'm just introducing the show. So it's a great topic because oftentimes I think it's the misconception how they supposed to work together.
Hmm,
But oftentimes the way it's measured is very different. But a
hmm,
lot of times, from an executive standpoint or an ROI perspective,
yeah,
they kind of just merge everything together. And a lot of times, you're reading the way you read analytics is so important. Understanding how to differentiate the two, because oftentimes people just lump it into one thing, right? And
yeah.
and it's sad, but it's true. Oftentimes, the marketing people are the ones that get their cost cut, right? So
Oh yeah.
let's talk about this. So Jeremy, go.
In in inherently, I don't. Okay, put it this way. I do not think that marketing blames sales. Um, as often as sales blame marketing. Okay, let me say that again. I don't think that marketing blame sales as much as sales blame marketing. Okay, why do I say that? Because when when it comes to the end of the year and sales don't meet quota, yeah, that's where the finger pointing game begins. And guess what? Sales is going to say that, oh no, Mark, we didn't get any support from marketing. Right. So I think usually that's the trigger because I don't see it the other way around, marketing saying like the whole year that, hey, sales didn't do their job. That's why they're not selling, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't think that happens. Okay. As often as sales coming to the end of the year, not meeting quota, and the first thing they say is, no, we didn't get any support from marketing. Right. And I think it's kind of like well, I think the word I have to use is unfair, yeah? Because I think marketing depends a lot more on sales. No, actually, it's kind of equal. Yeah, but my point is, um, marketing's role is to support sales. Hey, Aldrich, thanks for joining.
Eldrick made it.
Yeah, yeah. Just to catch you up a bit, we just started, and I'm going on the sales and marketing thing. Yeah, sales blaming marketing at the end of the year when
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
meet
yeah,
quota.
yeah.
so so sorry, where was I? So I
Go
was
on.
saying that marketing role is to support sales. So in that sense, there isn't sort of a marketing blaming sales the whole year that they're not doing the job. But the opposite happens at the end of the year when sales don't meet quota and marketing takes the blame. And the only way, the only way I feel that marketing can defend itself, it's really ROI, return on investment. That's where the numbers and the calculation, it's super important. And if whatever marketing activities and budget doesn't turn any ROI, then that's it. Marketing gets the blame. Sales can say that, hey, you guys, even though you supported us, whatever money you put in, the ROI is not there. However, do note that sometimes the ROI is heavily dependent on sales. Case in point, for example, let's say we do a lead generation campaign. Yeah, the leads come in, the lead gets handed to who? To sales. So what if sales sat on the leads. They didn't do anything because for whatever reason they're busy, whatever, doing quotes, RFQs and all that for other projects. And the lead sits there, it turns cold. And by the time that sales follow up, if they even do follow up, the lead is no longer there, right? Then you have very, very, very bad ROI. And that's no fault of marketing. It's just that for whatever reason, it was not followed up and you don't get the ROI. So there's this very interesting dynamics and codependency between sales and marketing. And I think I probably just only touched the surface on this whole topic. So I'm going to stop there and see if Audrey has anything to add, because he is the sales guy, right?
No, not exactly. No. Yeah. What's the topic? What's the opening question, by the way?
Opening question. Marketing and sales. The blame game, yeah?
Blame game?
Right, Kevin? Sort of like that. Kevin, you're on mute. Kevin, you're on mute.
When it comes to marketing and sales, right, oftentimes people misunderstand, and a lot of times companies, right, when they are looking at the end of the year quota, whatever, right, they kind of merge the two departments together instead of really differentiates what is marketing, what is sales, and how they actually coincide each other in order to make things happen, right? So oftentimes at the end of the year, it's either the sales department blames the marketing department, or the marketing department blames the sales department, and then marketing budget gets cut, which happens a lot in the corporate world. So that's what we're just kind of talking about, the differentiator between the two, right?
I see where you're coming from, but one thing I've learned is that you cannot just think for yourself. You'll fail.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are in a marketing department, if you're in a sales department, you got to think about what the CEO is thinking. You got to think about what the entrepreneur is thinking. And I think that's more important than anything else. If you need to increase a headcount to do data entry, okay, in the marketing department or in the sales department or in the ops department, it doesn't matter, because to the COO or to the CEO, it's increasing one headcount. To them, does it matter where the headcount sits? It doesn't. So I don't see the point of this conversation at all. I don't see the point of pursuing this conversation in depth, because if you truly understand the business that you are in, if you truly understand the business unit that you are in, and you get the mandate that you're here to grow it, that you're here to establish your company's ground in this region, you're here to do good work, you're here to show other people what you can do for them. I'm trying very hard not to use the word value. You will do what is necessary instead of retreating to playing games. The moment you say I'm a marketing guy, the moment you say I'm a sales guy, you are already playing games. There's no point. What's the point?
That's not how the corporate works in a way. Okay, let's talk about getting a headcount, right? So if you have a headcount, let's say not data entry, just a headcount, a spare headcount, yeah, one headcount. Okay, so does this headcount go to marketing or does this headcount go to sales? So if you were to fight for the headcount, I tell you, 10 out of 10 times this headcount will go to sales. Why? Because sales is going to want to bring in the revenue. It is still a cost. The headcount is still a cost. It will be allocated to sales because that's where you have a higher chance of bringing the money. You wouldn't want to put it in marketing because that will be a flat cost that gets no return. So no matter how you see it, I think any CEO or COO will see it as, okay, I got a spare headcount, I have clearance for this cost, where am I going to put it? It will be sales. It won't be marketing. For sure. I mean, if you know of any company that says, I'll put it in marketing, say, let me know. I'll probably sign up for that company. So let me know, seriously.
That's not the point. The point is
so
how
we
think about things. It's how we think about things.
How did I think about things that is wrong? How did I think about things that is wrong just now about this headcount? Enlighten me.
I'm sorry?
Enlighten me. How did I? Okay, my scenario about the headcount. What did I think about this headcount allocation that will go to sales 100%? What is wrong with that?
It depends on the position
How
you
is
are
my
in
thinking
also.
wrong? No, just
Okay, if
headcount.
you are middle
If you have a
level,
spare
if you
headcount.
are down the line as an operator, I think this line of thinking, you don't have to work. It will
No,
work.
no, 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 no. It's not about the level of management. It's just you have a headcount, you have the cost for a headcount. Do you think it's going to go to sales or do you going to go to marketing? What is wrong with my thinking that it will go to sales probably 10 out of 10 times? What is wrong with that thinking?
Justify.
What do you mean by that?
I'm sorry.
It
It's
will,
not a matter
it
of
will
words,
go
it's a
to,
matter of justification, right?
it will go into sales because the justification is the CEO or COO will see as, if I put this headcount in sales, I have a chance to recover the cost of this headcount.
Yep.
If I put it in marketing, I have zero chance of recovering this cost of this headcount.
If you keep
So what's
thinking
wrong with
cost,
the
then
thinking?
you got no chance.
That's how a CEO thinks. No?
No.
Well, I don't know, Audrey.
I'm sorry, no.
I'm sorry. I don't think you understand how corporates work, man.
I'm in a 9
Yeah,
to
I
6
think
now.
from a-
What makes you think that I don't understand?
Based on what you just said.
I guess from a corporate standpoint, typically the budget does go towards sales because in the executive world, naturally we feel the ROI is going to be. If I was going to bet on it, the ROI would be much quicker return from a sales department side versus a marketing side, right?
Yeah, the
So-
CEO or the COO will say that, we want growth. They wouldn't say that we want to cut costs. Nobody says that, right? They'll say we want growth. And yes, we want growth. So if we have headcount, where do you think that growth is the headcount is going to go? Sales. Sales.
And I think that's where this conversation can lead to, right? Because when it comes to sales, right? Sales is your workforce that, they're the ones that's supposed to go get the business, right? They're supposed to bring in and close the conversions, right? Marketing is the thought of building a brand, being able to build the image too. So I always call it marketing is leading the horse to the water. And sales is the people that make the horse drink the water.
But the thing is this, don't misunderstand. Sales play a big part in marketing as well.
Yes. Yep.
Right. So this is the part that most people probably don't see. Sales, just go and get
Can
the
I
sales.
offer a retort?
Sorry?
Can I offer a retort?
Sure.
If you can say that I don't understand how the corporate world works, even though I'm in a 9 to 6 now, then I can also say you're not qualified to say whatever you're saying.
What do you mean?
Because you're not in sales.
I'm not in sales. You're
Fair
right.
enough.
I'm not in sales. So you say that I'm not qualified to make the statement that sales is where sales is part of marketing, that sales does marketing as well. I'm not qualified to say that based on my sales. That's fair, but I do think that sales is an important part of marketing because they do sell the company, they do market the company. So anything wrong with that? You want to retort that?
Okay.
Marketing just arm them with the materials, the message, the pitch, but sales have to be the one to deliver. They do market the company. It's just that sometimes people don't see that. And then the blame game happens only because they don't hit the quota and then they say that, marketing doesn't help me, doesn't support me. I give you a very simple illustration. One of the most common things that I get requested is case studies. Hey, Jeremy, do you have case studies for a customer there's a grocery, that sell watches, that sell jewelry, right? Any case studies that I can refer to, because I'm talking about to this customer, there's a jeweler or a grocer, and I need this use case for this particular segment. And usually the answer is no, I don't have that specific a case study that applies to this segment or for this use case. Why? Because, hey, salesperson, did you give me a case study before? I can't help you if you have never given me something, or if all the salespeople in the company has never offered to do a case study. Where's the case study going to come from? Right? This is where the relationship really is two-way. We are interdependent. I don't have the contact or access to the customer. I don't have the relationship. So for a case study to work, salesperson must have established a relationship with the customer. We get to talk, and then we build the case study, we write it out, take pictures at the customer site, etc. And then we have a case study. Do enough of that, you'll build a database of case studies such that whenever a salesperson come and say that, hey, I need a case study, yeah, you have something to pull out. And hopefully it meets that need or is that specific use case. So in this context, my point is sales and marketing really have to work together for the betterment of the company to get more sales. Otherwise, if it's always about, hey, you never give me any case study to work on before, you're asking for one now, sorry, I don't have any. And then sales will say, yeah, I asked for case study, marketing doesn't have one, not my problem. Yeah, but we have to understand that this thing doesn't happen overnight, it has to be built. So I always say something like, help me to help you. If you want a case study, you need to help me so that I can help you back, right? It's circular.
Because the sales team is the ones they're in the front lines talking to the customers. So they're the ones that are able to, they have the knowledge of the experience with the clients, right? So they have to provide marketing with what does the buyer journey look like? What is the feedback from the customer standpoint, right? So, so I think it goes back to what Eldrick said earlier, which makes a lot of sense. At the end, it's the same team. And we have to look at it. We're all trying to move the needle the same, and so that's what the executives team, that's all they care about, right? Is that ultimate needle. Make more money, right? Growth.
Make more money at less cost.
Yep, at less cost.
Make more money at less cost.
So I think when it comes to, but the reality is from a corporate standpoint, and even small businesses, there's just a misunderstanding about how these two departments need to collaborate sometimes. And they don't understand how, like Jeremy just said, we can't do good marketing without sales working with marketing. And vice versa, if marketing don't work with sales, they can't do good sales, right? It goes hand in hand. So the departments have to provide each other with what they need. Right? And then understanding how do you measure the conversion, right? So a lot of times we're looking at, okay, from a marketing standpoint, when you're looking at analytics, you're looking at impressions and engagement and so forth, right? And sales, you're looking at conversions, how do I close the deal? How quickly, what is the, from point A of talking to the client to the demo, from the demo to how long does it take to actually close the deal and sign the contract, right? So the measurements are different, right? But a lot of times when you're in the executive operational position, you just take a snapshot of the whole thing. And, they aren't seeing like, if marketing drew, let's say in 4 days, 30,000 impressions, that means people are coming. But then why are we not selling anything?
So what, right?
Yeah.
So what, right? Imagine you have the budget to put an ad on the Super Bowl finals. Right? That costs millions of dollars, right? And wow, the whole of America saw your ad. But so what? Does that convert to sales numbers? Yeah. I think that so what part, if anyone can answer that $1 million question, I think, wow, that would be incredible.
Yep.
That would be incredible.
So at the end, from an operational side, I think I can speak for almost all C-level. If there's no sales, it doesn't matter how many impressions there are, what we're driving, right? But then a lot of times we forget too. So it's the sales team supporting the marketing and closing the deals. So of course it depends on what we're selling, right? When it's a product or a service, you also have to have good product, good service, everything, right? But when you're looking at sales and marketing, it goes hand in hand. Because if we can lead people to be interested in the brand, right, then someone still has to close the sale.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then we have to measure, how good are the salespeople, right? And then the nurturing and all that. So I think that's the biggest part, even for me, when I'm working with small businesses. A lot of times it's very hard for them to differentiate what is marketing and what is sales, right? So a lot of times let's say if you're a small business owner, a lot of times the sales department also wears many hats. They're also the operation guy. They're also the owner himself, right? But if he's not on top of it, and let's say we're driving these leads, and they don't get back to them, then it's really sometimes it's not the marketing department, right? It's really sales. So I think that's the thing when it comes to small to mid-sized enterprises. That is one of the biggest challenge, and the ones that do it very well are the ones that understand this aspect of the business. Because a lot of times when you're a small business, just like myself even, right, I oftentimes do the sales too. So if I'm the business owner, of course I'm not going to say I don't do a good job of selling because I'm the owner, right?
Yeah.
And but I have to understand, hey, if I'm too busy and I can't support my sales part, then I need to look at hiring and staffing salespeople to support the marketing funnel.
Yeah. Okay, let me just ask if it's fair to say, right, for SMEs, usually when you see job ads, there's this way that they advertise for positions. They'll put sales and marketing, sales and marketing executive, and usually that means sales, right? Right. So at this purest level for SMEs, that's where you see that they do identify the two as being very, very related, or maybe even the same thing, right? Sales and marketing executive usually means sales, to be honest, but they put the word marketing there, I don't know, for whatever reason, to let you know that you're not just selling, you also have to do a bit of this marketing thing, or it's really just to entice you to say, oh yeah, there's this marketing component, rather than just purely sales. I don't know, but that's when you will see the two being merged together in a position.
So, Jeremy, I have a question for you and Eldrick both. Cold calling, sales or marketing?
Ooh. At the MNC level, there will be cold call specialists, right? Because the job is so specialized, you have call centers. Yeah. If without that, well, I think most of the time people will attribute that to. Wait, let me think. Actually, I don't know. It depends. Some companies will put it as marketing, some will put it as sales. Yeah.
Eldrick, what do you think?
Am I qualified to make a comment? If I'm not, I'll just listen.
Yeah.
It's okay,
Yeah. Because it goes back to, I've been thinking a lot about this, right? Because, okay, cold calling has now become outbound marketing too, right? Because of now you have appointment setters on LinkedIn for organizations or on social media. So how do you differentiate? Used to back in the days, a lot of times the salesperson has to do the cold calling too, right? When you get hired on as a salesperson, you're expected to hit your quota in reaching out clients, right? So now how does it work? Because now you shift it into the social selling. Right? Everyone talks about social selling. So if the account executive or salesperson supposed to go on social media and prospect and do appointment setting into a Zoom call, so does this become a sales item or a marketing item?
Well, based on the 9 to 6 company that I'm working for, the follow-ups are done at various stages. So if you are at an event, people are interested, the BD department will follow up. If they have given you their name cards, their emails, and they make an appointment with you, the marketing department will follow up with the kind of interest that they cite. And then once they go past to have an appointment, and then they have further appointments to talk about the products and services, the salespeople will follow up. Now, if you think about it in that way, yes, there's one long process, different departments taking charge of their own various territories, but just consolidate it and don't be so stupid. I'm telling my CEO the same damn thing because he's sitting beside me, and I think that is damn dumb. The point is speed. If you want to follow up, you have to have speed. You have to have the content. because people are going to forget you.
Yeah.
So does it matter
Speed.
who's going to follow up? Does it matter? It doesn't. The point is, are you interested to follow up? Do you have the enthusiasm to follow up? Are you prepared to be slapped in the face? What difference does it make to a BD person, a salesperson, or a marketing person? I don't see the point. You're going to get slapped anyway, and you're going to get slapped not because you are a BD person or a marketing person. You're going to get slapped because the company's product is not up to par, the company's services is not up to par, you're probably not trained enough to engage with clients, you're probably not experienced enough to overcome rejections of all sorts. That's it. So I don't see the point of who should be following up. It's good that you have a team, so you spread out the workload. I see that. Okay? But beyond that, I don't see the point. Do you want a deal? If you want a deal, you got to follow up like soon, like now, like know what you're talking about. It depends on the person that's engaging. If I'm engaging the both of you now, I will want to follow up. Does it matter if I'm from marketing or sales? If I'm from marketing, my way of following up will be different. Yes, there is a difference. I'll follow up with customer testimonials, with case studies, use cases, content, videos, YouTube, long form writing, LinkedIn writing, because these are my weapons. Salesperson's follow up is not likely to be in this way. They'll be like, let's meet for coffee. Can I come to your office? The purpose I'm coming to the office is to study what you're doing. So when I pitch, I know exactly what I'm talking. So different departments, different specialization, different job scope have a different way of following up, but the point is you still have to follow up. And is follow up a cost? No, if you know how to follow up and if you know how to get the deal. So it's a cost if you drop the ball. At the individual level, department level, corporate level. Sorry, I don't understand working in the corporate world. Yeah, I don't. But I'm seeing this every day. That's just my. I don't see the point at all.
Kevin, can I answer your question another way? I agree with Audrey. Speed is of the essence. And how do you translate speed? As in, how do you motivate people to act on it in a speedy manner, to act on leads in a speedy manner? So one way to answer your question is cold calling a sales function or a marketing function. I think we need to define the incentives of the person following up on the cold call. Okay, my point is this: if this person is incentivized by commissions for following up or closing deals or for setting up appointments, and then I'll call it a sales function because you have the incentive to act on it fast. Because the speed in which you engage with the lead will most likely mean you close it better and faster, and then you will translate to an incentive. But if there is no incentive, then it's probably a marketing function. That's one way to look at it. Put it this way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about corporate, right? So now let's bring it back a little bit, and let's talk about what a lot of these folks are probably watching the show tonight is looking for, right? So if you're a startup, okay, or someone that's just trying to get your business going, would you invest in marketing first or sales?
Startup.
Yep, startup. So what would you recommend?
Depends on what kind of startup, right?
Yeah.
Because you have startups who just need VC capital injections and for them to move the business, and
let's just say non-VC businesses, startups that are just from the ground up, just a small business owner trying to get something going. And since majority of our audience is on LinkedIn, let's just say B2B.
It's likely going to be, like I mentioned earlier, it's likely going to be a sales and marketing role. It's probably not going to be that defined, as in, draw the line, you are purely sales or purely marketing. It will be a combination of both. And then it will depend on how this person is compensated, whether it's a fixed salary or it has a fixed with a commission type component or pure commission, right? So that's how I think we can define it depending on the way the company is going to structure that role in terms of compensation and duties, roles and responsibilities.
Because let me paint a picture for you. So I can speak for the U.S. I don't know about Asia because I do work with a lot of U.S. centric businesses, right? So a lot of small businesses, when they are starting out, if they don't have VC capital or an investment loan or anything, a lot of time they start a business, they're not going to invest in their logo. They're not going to invest in their branding. And the first thing they do is sell. Right? That's what they want to do, right? That's majority of what most, I say, small, like I'm talking about small business owner, like pretty small, like 4 people, 4-man team type businesses, or even 1-man team, right? Now, a lot of times they don't see the value of investing in understanding a brand, their target audience, or they just go, right? So, of course, from an agency side who works with a small business, I feel is a mistake because I see so many business fail, because then they go, and of course, in their mind is, hey, let's acquire business first, right? But then longer down the road, now their branding, their messaging is not there, right? And it creates other headaches or other issues, even if they grow fast or they don't grow, right? So I want to hear from both of you. What's the perspective in the East? Like, what is it the same or? Yep.
I think it's quite likely the same. It's about survival. I mean, I did have a chance to help some friends get their business up when I was in between jobs. So it's really more of getting the sales, finding the customers, because it's survival, right? You still need to, put food on the table. So where marketing is concerned, that's where, I got roped in and said, hey, could you create a logo for us? For free, of course. Yeah, I had time, so why not? Like, friendship and that kind of thing. So just do the favor. So I think that's quite true. That if you are a 4-man team, you don't have any excess budget. You probably won't spend a few $100s or thousands of dollars to create a logo, messaging, and build all that thing around it. Unlikely. You're just going to make sure you have your best product at the best value in terms of cost, and try to market and sell it and get your deal. And it will happen concurrently. You will not be like, I do this first, I'll do the brand and logo first before I do the sales. It will try to be happening concurrently, but I do think that the priority is getting sales.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would you say if you were recommending a business that's kind of in this kind of situation? What do you feel is the most important thing that they can invest in from a cost perspective, right? At the very beginning when it comes to marketing. What should they do?
What should they do? I think when you try to start a business, I mean, I don't have experience in this, right? But I do think that the first foremost thing that you can leverage on would be your relationships. If you're going to start a business, you probably have an idea what you want to sell. It will probably be something that you are familiar with, or in the same industry you have worked in the past, I don't know, X number of years. You probably have an idea of who would be your first buyers before you start to do what you do. So I really do think that the first thing you would invest in is something you probably should have been investing in, which is in business relationships, knowing people, people that might buy from you, or people in your industry that you have of your choice that you go in. If not, I think it's going to be very hard to start any form of business. I just don't see that happening. But if you're talking about, if I have my first $100 and I can spend this to invest in my business, what will it be? I don't know. Marketing, but what kind of marketing will be the question? Because right now, if you have $100, there's a lot of things you can do on social media, which would probably fit the budget. Yes, it might be limited, but you can still do something with it. Put ads on targeted ads on Facebook, targeted ads on LinkedIn, that kind of thing. But you really need to know who your target audience is. Otherwise, whatever amount you have, it's just gonna not give you the ROI. That's my view. Yeah.
Eldrick, thoughts?
I won't think about putting money in either sales or marketing. I will think about how to put money to generate growth. So the person that comes in has to be someone who can do many things and packages sales, marketing, and BD all in one. Meaning you have to be extremely competent for a startup. I don't know if I'm qualified to say this. I have projects that I do too. And the moment I sense someone's trying to tell me that he's a specialized person, it depends on stages. Typically, I'll say no. I cannot afford that. Time and money. No way, dude. You don't understand. Go find a MNC corporate job. That they will give you the room to specialize, but definitely not when you're in a small team and you're trying to grow a venture. No way.
Yes.
In fact, even when you're talking about securing funding, let's say from angels or from your network, people will ask me like, who is the better person to secure it, as opposed to which department should be the one securing it. So in the small team that we are working with, the best pitcher must be the one pitching for it, and all of us will support him, even if the best pitcher is a software guy. Surprise! The best pitcher is a software guy. The marketing, the sales, and the CEO support the person. If you think you're not good enough, and there's someone else in your team that can do it, you better drop all the lines of specialization to support that guy to do it, because that's your only chance. If you think that I'm a mighty CEO or COO and I run this startup and I'm going to be a multi-billionaire because I'm going to list in US, you're dreaming, because you're not going to make it. So to me, is the person. Hire for the person and then give the task to the person who can do it really well. Okay? So this is the context of a startup. That's my point.
That's good.
Other than that, I don't see any other way, honestly. I mean, I don't see any startups going out there directly to say I'm going to hire a marketing director to scope out my branding, or I'm going to hire a sales director to ensure that I have a sales roadmap or pipeline for the next 5 years. Dude, you're deluded. Think about the next 5 months instead. What's your cash burn? How many months do you have last? How many clients do you have now? What's your prospect funnel? Don't think long term. Think short term. Your long term is 6 months. Burn out of money, you're gone. So I don't see the point of getting too established. Of course, it depends on the stages. If you are more mature, you can afford it. But then again, if you already have funding from some form of investors behind you, they're not going to be. You better know how to manage them. Because all they care about is one entity. How are you going to grow? If you don't grow, they're not going to get their returns. It's very simple. But it's very tough to do, of course.
Yeah, and I think it's so true when you're a small business. I think one of the key things is, and I see this a lot because I work with a lot of small businesses, is the leadership doesn't understand themselves. I think first, and that's why you have failing businesses, right? They have to identify what their weakness is, right? Example, if I don't like to talk to people, then I'm going to pay someone else to go talk to people, because that's something I don't like, then therefore I shouldn't be the person to talk to customers or whatever, right? So I think example, certain CEOs or certain executives teams, they have everything, right? They have guys that can wear multiple hats. But if you don't have that certain hat that you're going to be good at wearing, then you need to be able to hire someone that can fill that role, right? And I think it goes back to, identifying your audience and knowing your market, which is still marketing, right? When you're starting out your business, you might not be able to hire someone to do it, but you better know your product or your service that you're selling and who you're selling to. Because I see so many people that go, oh, I have a great idea, and then they go start these businesses. But then they have no idea if there's an audience out there to go buy that service or buy that product, and you see a failing business model. So I think it's so important to understand these things, and that's why some businesses, before they start, they do some what I call market research, to just put it out there and see if there's any bites before they start throwing all their money in there, or their quit their job, and start a business, So I think it's so important. But when you're a small business, you have to wear many hats, as like Eldrick said, because it's either your time or your money. There's no other choice, right? So that's so important. And when it comes to marketing and sales, I think it does go hand in hand. I see it for my own business, right? When I started doing, I wanted to say hi to John. John just hopped on here. How are you doing, John? So I remember when I started, I really thought about, how I started seeing revenue in my business, right? And a lot of times when it was me who was selling my company, right? I was the best one at selling it because I was passionate about my own business. But at the same time, we really pay attention to what we put out there. So from the get and go, being a marketing agency, so it's important, I really invested in my website, and I was real picky with establishing a logo and brand that can carry me at least 6-7 years, right? I see that mistake in a lot of businesses, because if you don't have a good quality net going, okay, let's go, we're going fishing, and we don't have a good quality net to catch the fish. So even if at best, as an executive or the CEO or the business owner, you can catch that fish, but if you have a weak net, you can't sustain it, So I think it's so important. There are things in the marketing world that you have to have. I think in today's market, you have to have somewhat of a good social media presence. A good website, I think, is so important, because I know myself, I've turned down good software companies that try to sell to me because I go on their website and I just don't trust the software. Just looking at their marketing material or their website, Same thing with social media. I check people's, when's the last time, if they don't care enough to put content out there since 2017, it makes me start questioning, do they really care about their business? And that goes all the way to mom and pop restaurants, places I go eat. It does impact my decision making in either doing business with that restaurant or not, So I think it's so important from the get-go. I think, yes, you have to have sales to sustain, but I do still think you're depending, if you're a brick and mortar, your atmosphere does matter. What are people walking into? If you're a B2B, your website does matter, right? Because that's your first line of defense, right? It's like you going on a date and going, oh, I don't care, how I look or how I dress. And it's that first impression that matters. So, yeah.
Doing good.
Yeah, it's been a while, John. So, thoughts?
Sales or marketing?
Yeah.
I just feel that put it this way, if I was to recommend people what job to take, right? You're going to be in marketing or you're going to be sales. To be honest, I'm going to tell people, right, like my kids, don't be in marketing. Really, don't. If you can be in sales, why? Very simple reason.
They make more money.
No, not just that. Not just that. Maybe depending on how good you are. But the point is this: people see sales skills as transferable, regardless of industry. Okay, you can sell ice to Eskimos. You can sell whatever, everything else. Yeah. But when it comes to marketing, people will try to tie you to basically, are you B2C marketer or a B2B marketer? That's like the first segregation, yeah? And then they will see which industry you are in. Because likely, if you were in the oil and gas marketing, in the oil and gas industry doing marketing, it's unlikely, people will view your marketing skills as transferable in a car sales or okay, maybe that's B2C, yeah. In a oil and gas versus a retail technology, right? They don't think that that's transferable, right? Or rather, you need to know the market. You need to have the market knowledge. But for sales, no, you're good at selling. You can sell anything. So that's the reason why I would really advise, like my kids, don't go to marketing if you can't get a sales job. Not because of making money, but if you're good at what you do, you can hop around different industries. But if you're good at what you do in marketing, that could likely be industry dependent. That's all I'm saying, right? If I'm really good at B2B selling, McDonald's probably won't hire me because I don't know how to sell B2C. Right? So yeah, that's my point if I have to round it up.
So, because at the end of the day, I think it comes down to, I think I learned this earlier in my corporate career. I learned that, I was a software engineer. And so my parents told me, when you graduate, you be an engineer or a doctor, right? One of those
Asian.
things. So, yep, Asian. So I was going to be a pediatrician. So I was going to go to med school. And then after I took my college science classes, I decided, man, it'll take a long time. I don't know if I can do more chemistry and biology classes. So I switched to, hey, it was during the .com era that, hey, they need software in hospitals, so I'll become a software engineer, right? But when I got my first corporate job, being a developer, I learned very quickly my parents taught me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You don't be an engineer or doctor. You become a salesperson. Because if you can sell, those guys dictate the price of your software. And they're the ones driving the nice cars. They're the ones with the big houses. They're the ones that show up to the company whenever they want to, as long as they can sell, right? So I learned very quickly, and I moved my software engineering role into more a sales support role. And slowly I got away from development and became a sales guy, right? So I kind of got the best of both worlds, and I learned just out of this conversation, right? It's so true. At the heartbeat of a business has to be sales, And I am a marketing agency, and I still see it today, right? At the end, they just care about that needle, the ROI. What's the return on investment? What am I getting back? That's just the honest truth, right? And I think it really helps for me to be able to come from a sales side and then to marketing. Because if you start with marketing, you have a very hard time understanding why the executive and management level care so much about the sales aspect. And I think just having that sales skill has helped me from a business owner perspective too, because if I couldn't sell what my business was, then I would be going hungry, and I would be back at a corporate job, So you have to have the sales skills. It's so important, right? So that's kind of my take. And Kenneth Chen, if your kids
I laughed at that.
the best advice
I laugh at that comment. It's true. It's true.
It's good. True. Everyone tell you how to do your job.
Yep. It's true.
Yep. Because I think at the end, the sales will always have the upper hand as long as they can sell. And they're the ones that can tell you how to do your job.
Of course, because if you look at the P&L statement, what's on top? Where's marketing? Right below. If there isn't, there's a column for marketing, it's right below. But on top is revenue, sales and revenue.
Yeah.
That's how the world works. Simply how it works.
So should start a sales organization, not a marketing.
That's why Audrey will do far better than me in life.
I don't think so. I don't think there's a need to separate the sales organization and marketing organization. We got to short of saying something cliche, but the way we think hasn't changed a lot based on the people that I interact with, and I don't mean the two gentlemen that I'm talking to now. Any personal attacks come along the way. I'm trying to say that today we run 3 businesses as individuals. You are your own salesperson. You are your own marketing person. Wrong. You are your own marketing person. You are your own media person. Media. If you cannot promote yourself directly, indirectly, discreetly, indiscreetly, you have no chance. There's one saying from a book which I recommend. The title is called Oversubscribed. The author, I think his name is Daniel Priestley. He says that you are who Google says you are.
Wow. Oh, okay. Oh, that's.
If I'm interested in
awesome.
finding out your profile, what you do, what I'm gonna do, I'm just going to Google and search your name. What comes up, right? If nothing, well, that's a separate conversation. And the last one, you are your own software business, meaning you do your own enablement here. So if you don't think about it in that way, you don't see yourself as a package of business going ahead, it's very difficult. So yes, you can think about the jobs that you want to do in future, but you will always default back to your skill sets. And there are common important skill sets that cuts across all departments. You must be able to communicate effectively. Otherwise, if you are in sales, you lose clients. If you are in internal departments, you lose the buy-in of your own managers, which is disastrous. Otherwise, your meetings with the C-levels, they're just going to say one meeting, one presentation, and everyone will have a whole book on you, and you probably won't want to read that book, right? So that's the communication piece. The other one is the ability to really understand what people are saying, because we are not direct in how we say things. I've encountered a lot of objections regardless of levels, and if you cannot fathom what exactly they are rejecting you for, there's no chance at all. And it doesn't have to be sales. So if you're in marketing, you're in BD, and you have your own vendors that you liaise with, it's the same damn thing. You go in and you tell them you need this, and they tell you, no, we're not going to do this. If you cannot understand why, well, then you're probably not setting up yourself for success. That's all I'm saying. And this cuts across all. So the skill sets that you have is very important. Can connect or not? Are you competent in your digital skill sets or not? Okay. Now, I want to talk about something that the both of you don't do. I do a lot of content writing. Same thing. I got to market it, right? So the publications that I send it to, they have their own publication engine, and it's difficult to get in if they're top tier. Very difficult to get in, but it's worth it because then you market yourself in terms of your work, and they market it for you by slapping a brand on top of it, which is their name. And your article must sell. If what you write is so dry and you don't know what you're writing about, people are going to read the first 2 paragraphs and they're just going to swipe left instead of scrolling downwards. So I don't see these as independent functions. I see them as one package. And if you really want to achieve things in life, you have to see things in one package and not like that.
Compartmentalized.
A sports analogy, a triathlon is one sport. It's not 3 sports. When you train 3 sports, but when you race, it's one sport. The person that's going to win at the end of the day is going to be the strongest swimmer, biker, runner of that day, not the strongest runner, not the strongest swimmer, not the fastest biker. So I think that's just the way I think about things. The analogies so far, it has to change a little. Otherwise, we will not. If a tree falls in the forest and no one is there to post on social media, did it really happen? Well, you can make it happen if you want to. Yeah. And that's just my point.
Want to shout out to Paul Rogers. Thanks for joining us for the show. Appreciate you. Good point, Eldrick, because I think it's more important than ever. And it's like you said, it's always been around, but nowadays it's almost like a flashlight shining, right? I think it's more important than ever for organizations to stop seeing everything as different departments. Because at the end of the day, we're all in the people business, right? So every day, just like Nico's book, we're all marketers. You're marketing yourself as soon as you go apply for a job. As soon as you try to date someone, you're marketing yourself. So we're marketing ourselves every single day. As soon as you get out the door, you're marketing yourself. Number 2.
And I have a very simple way to describe that based on what Nico's book wrote. So every day you're marketing yourself. The best way to test it is ask someone who's around you to be really honest. When they think about your name, what are the words that they think about?
That's so good.
Yeah. If the first 3 words are not positive words, okay, get a rundown list. Just tell them, when you think about my name, what are the 10 things that you think about? Okay. So just in case that person is a real positive guy and don't believe in offending people, they will run out of words to say by the 5th or 6th one. So take the 7, 8, 9, 10 and think whether that is the way you want people to think about you. And this is going to be very, very, it's a very scary exercise. Very, right? So, for instance, you might think that you are very enthusiastic, but to other people, you are very pushy and aggressive. It's actually the same thing. It's just the way you carry yourself, the vibes are a little different. So, you have something to do, to work on, but it's light. It's not something so, disastrous.
Ooh, Paul has a good point there. He said, what you are at home is what you'll be eventually in public.
For me, that's fat. For me, that's fat.
And then Kenneth says, sorry, didn't quite catch the title of the book. It's We Are All Marketers. So
by Nico.
By Nico O'Brien. So, I think one, it's so true. We're marketing ourselves every day. And then 2 is we're in the people business, and you have to understand how to build relationships. Because at the core of, it doesn't matter if you're in sales or marketing, right? It's understanding the human element. If you're trying to market, you're marketing to human beings. So how do you talk to humans? How do you listen? These are just, a marketer has to listen just like a salesperson has to listen. in order to provide good marketing, you got to hear. If you can't hear, you can't market. And same thing, you can't sell without listening to truly identifying what the person you're selling to, what their needs are, right? It's not rocket science. So it's like relationships, we're all marketing ourselves. And it plays such a big factor. And every day nowadays, the best salespeople, they're the ones putting themselves out there. They're marketing themselves either through writing blogs. A lot of them are doing social media. A lot of them are prospecting, doing marketing things. And vice versa, a lot of marketers are actually trying to sell something too. So they're using sales skills. So it's like Eldrick said, you're just a triathlete. It's neither or. So I know Jeremy has a hard stop with his work tonight. And so it's already
Thank you.
8 where I'm at, and I think it's 10 where he's at. So
Yep.
we appreciate everyone that joined us, and it was an enjoyable topic. And at the end of the day, there's no marketing or sales, right? It's just being human. So keep building those relationships, and make sure the top 5 things that people think of you. Actually, if you're married,
Check your
it's like
Google.
Paul said, ask your wife what are the top 5 things she thinks of you.
Mine's
So
not good.
my wife is very honest with me, so I would not pass Eldrick's test. So
All 10 will be negative for me.
I
I'm
know.
very sure. Yeah, all 10. That's not going to be a good one.
all 10 are bad. No. Anyway, so if Paul is right, what you're at home is what you will eventually be in the public. These 3 guys have failed. So have a good night. All right. Later.
Thank you. Bye.
Later.
Bye.